On this episode, we'll discuss lightening the load of church finances through smart systems. Well, hey there, and welcome to another episode of the Church Leadership Lab podcast, the show that is dedicated to inspiring leaders and empowering healthy churches. I'm your host, Kendall Connor, and today we have a very special episode for you. As many of you are aware, our podcast is brought to you by Ministry Brands, the largest provider of church technology software. And one of my favorite parts of being on the Ministry Brands team is that I get to connect with some great partners. Ministry Brands, we have so many solutions for church operations. I mean, everything from giving to websites to apps, security, media, and that really just names a few. But at the same time, we know that we can't do everything. However, through our incredible partners, we are able to get you connected to the right people who can help with just about anything for your ministry. One of those great partners is AvidXchange, and someone from their team that I've gotten to spend some time getting to know is Wes Herms, and he's going to be joining us today. I'm excited for this conversation. If you haven't connected with him before, let me tell you a little about him. Wes Herms is a senior channel manager at AvidXchange, where he spent over 5 years helping companies and organizations streamline their accounts payable through automation and smart best practices. He's got a background in IT cost optimization, super sharp. He's passionate about driving efficiency, kind of building those workflows that deliver real results. Wes, he's also known for building strong relationships. That's why I know that you're going to love getting to hear from him. He is consistently adding value across both those finance and tech spaces. And he lives in Charlotte, which is not too far away from me. He lives there with his wife, Brittany. And when he's not working, you can usually find him traveling or exploring the city together with her. Now, like I mentioned, he's not that far from me. Wes and AvidXchange, their headquarters, they're in North Carolina, just like I am. And I was able to take a little bit of a road trip to go visit them in person for this episode. So if you want to get a look at their podcast studio, I suggest enjoying this episode over on our YouTube channel. If you want to get a sneak peek at that. But today we're going to be talking all about church finances and how you can use smart tools and automation to kind of get back some of that valuable time and even increase your security. So without further ado, let's jump in to our conversation. Well, hey there, everyone. I'm so excited because today we're actually joining you on location at the AvidXchange headquarters in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I get to talk with Wes Herms. How are you, Wes?
Doing well. Happy Friday, Kendall.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's kind of awesome to be here in person and to shake things up a little bit, mix it up, right?
Beautiful Friday afternoon. We're both in North Carolina. It made the most sense just for us to do this in person.
When you said that you were so close, I was thinking we've got to make this work. Like that's gotta be it. And you told me you had an awesome podcast studio right here in your building, and so
we do.
We had to make it work.
Yeah, our CEO has this great facility here, and why not do it?
Yeah,
both in North Carolina. We've known each other for a while now. I'm really looking forward to this.
We had to bring the North Carolina representation. We had to make sure we were representing for our state here. So I love that. Well, for everyone, we've talked about your public bio, but I want to make sure something that we always ask every guest is what's something that doesn't make that public bio that all of your family and friends would know about you?
Yeah. I'd say I'm a people person at the end of the day. Like human interaction really is what drives me the most.
Yeah.
My grandma would say I have the Kaiser gift of gab. That's my great grandfather's last name.
Yeah.
And there's certain people in our family that we could just talk to anything. And I always joke that I could talk to a brick wall.
Yeah.
But no, the people that I get to meet in my role, the people I get to meet in my life, that's what really drives me. And what I really enjoy most about the role that I'm in here at AvidXchange and partnering with Ministry Brands, I still believe in the goodness of people.
Yes.
I have faith in humanity, and I look to just put good back out in the world wherever I can.
I love that. I love hearing your heart in that. And I'm just kind of, there's going to be folks that are watching or listening to this today, and they've never heard of AvidXchange. Can you just really quickly, before we jump into anything else, just give us like a little snippet of what AvidXchange is and how they can be beneficial to churches.
Certainly. Yeah, so AvidXchange, we're a software automation provider. We're focused on helping ministries really focus on ministry versus just the back office manual processes, specifically around how they're paying their vendor bills. We've partnered with ministry brands to have seamless integrations directly into the financial systems.
Yes.
And we're looking to deliver just an automated, centralized process, regardless of how they're paying the bills. We want to bring that down to one simplified process, but beef up the security and give them the ability and transparency to really manage this from anywhere.
Wow, that's really cool. And, a lot of times for churches, finances are important. I don't think that there's a church that, can do all the things that they want to do if they don't have that giving, that stewardship that comes in. But at the same time, there's all of the administrative work that comes with it. And so tools like this can be a big help, right?
Certainly. And we're seeing a huge response from the churches we've spoken to. In the last 9 months, I've spoken to hundreds of churches who have a lot of the same problems.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of the same struggles. And that's what we're on a mission to go and bring those results that we're able to deliver with automation to all these churches.
Yes.
So we can give them that time back. We can free up that limited resource they already have, and they can really focus on the things that they do best, the mission critical, community outreach, the inspiring of faith, those types of things.
Well, and I think every church leader probably feels that tension, right? Of they've got to take care of the administrative things. You want to be, responsible with everything that you're doing, but they've got a heart. They want to get out there and they want to be touching lives and, doing their mission. So that makes a lot of sense to me. Well, look, tell me a little bit about your story. I want to hear how you got involved in this a little bit more, and kind of what drew you to wanting to help people in this way.
Sure. So I've been with AvidXchange for right at 6 years now. I actually came to the company through a mutual contact who introduced me to the SVP of sales at the time, Mike Travis. Interestingly enough, he just joined Ministry Brands as well.
Wow.
So we're back to working together.
Yeah.
But no, I spent 9 years with a data center support and services company, working with global partners, and just kind of burning out a little bit.
Yeah.
So a buddy of mine had joined on the IT side here, had met Mike, brokered an introduction, and a couple months later, he was building a team that was focused on supporting nonprofits and faith-based organizations and asked me to join. So came in and got to work.
It's always kind of encouraging to me to hear just how, the different dots that connect to make someone's story, right? And how you get into something and you find kind of that thing that you're passionate about, right? And, those connections always just make such a big difference, right? The people that we're connected to and, it just goes a really long way. That journey is always interesting to hear how it comes together. But when you see it all together, looking in hindsight, right, it just clicks. It makes sense, right?
Right. And I'll tell you a quick story. Like the very first customer that I worked with was a local Charlotte ministry that focuses on providing financial aid to families that are in need.
Wow.
And of course, I joined right before COVID hit. So there was a huge impact that was made with the onset of the pandemic. We were able to work with this ministry. They're right around the corner from our office. But I purposely made my team go on site and see the ministry. So we went into the lobby. We were able to see the folks that were in need.
Yeah.
And we were able to see the work that this team was doing. We went through the process and we walked away from that meeting, and I just told them, we got to find a way to help these people.
We got to figure this out, right?
Because much like the ministries I'm speaking to now, they were running super lean, but they were doing great community outreach.
Yes.
They're spreading the good word. They were just helping their neighbor, right?
Yes.
So they were able to adopt. We did, like I said, we did it right before COVID. So we were able to free up time for them to where they were able to help more people that were in need. And it was just, just a really lucky time that we were able to do it.
Yes.
We were fortunate to be able to get them up and running on the solution, and they were able to drive really positive impact in people's time in need.
I love that. And man, it feels good when you can see the actual good work that's happening. I feel like that's something that I'm so blessed with my job, is just being able to connect with folks and just see how it's really making a difference, right? And, those stories are just a great reminder that, yes, it's finances. Yes, it's administrative type things. Yeah, it's accounts payable, right? But at the end of the day, it's putting the right tools into the hands of folks that are out there, and they're making a big difference in the community. So it's powerful, right? So I want to talk a little bit about how Avid can help in ways like, let's talk about like bills and managing your vendors. And we know that that's a big part of operations, but not everyone has really thought about like you can bring things like automation into the picture. Can you tell us a little bit about, okay, how does this actually come into play? How is this going to work for an organization?
Yeah, no. So as church leaders, as ministry leaders, they got a lot on their plate.
Sure.
They are juggling the community outreach.
Yes.
They're serving in the community. They're inspiring faith. They're spreading that good word.
Right.
But then behind the scenes, they're also keeping the lights on.
Yes.
They're responsible and accountable to their congregations, to their finance committees, to their boards, to really be a good steward of that funding that the church has. So many of these leaders just don't have that tool set. And we're finding that everyone really runs very lean. They have a small team, particularly of volunteer staff in many cases.
Yes.
Where they're running around wearing all these different hats, lots of paper processes.
Yes.
That's where AvidXchange comes in.
Okay.
Our solution enables them to really digitize and automate that process.
Right.
Where they can move away from paper. They can get out of the risk that's associated with the paper. We can free up the time to where they can focus more on providing that ministry, doing the good work in the community, but still have a very tight handle on how those finances, that cash that's going out the door, they have complete control, seamless visibility, and they can do everything from wherever they're at. They don't necessarily have to be in the church office anymore to approve those payments, to review those transactions. And then we're tracking things from an audit trail perspective to where they can easily report on that, have a clear line of sight into, did this meet our internal policies? Do we need to make changes?
Yeah. Well, and let's talk a little bit into I want to get into the specifics of it because, every church, they're going to have accounts payable. They're going to have things that they've got to pay. They've got bills that they've got to get out the door. They're going to pay for potentially their building. I spent over a decade now in a portable church, right?
Okay.
And so we were something that we had to pay. If we didn't pay to pay that lease to be into that portable space that we were paying to be a part of, we're not going to have somewhere to meet on Sundays.
Right.
I think about churches that have permanent facilities. I mean, realistically, we've got to make sure that we're getting things out the door for our electric bills, right? We've got to make sure that we've got all of these different things. Tell us a little bit about those things that churches are having are faced with, and that they've got to make sure that they get handled each month.
Certainly. Yeah, I mean, to your point, and your personal experience, like I referred to it as keeping the lights on earlier.
Yeah.
A lot of times it is.
Yes.
And they're reliant on these vendors to deliver these goods or services.
Yes.
And these vendor relationships are very sensitive in many cases.
Yes.
And if you don't pay them, then things can go bad really, really quickly.
Yes. Yes.
So without that tool set or an appropriate tool set for the church to manage that, and if they have antiquated processes, which most churches of all shapes and sizes do,
yes,
they are then more at risk for things like fraud. They're more at risk for having late fees or paying their vendors late, which then puts pressure and drops stress for the folks that are involved in this process. And then they may be just unaware. There could be errors. They may be unaware of things that are happening in their business.
Yes.
Because they're managing everything from a paper process.
Right.
They don't have a good handle on, where's this cash out once it leaves the church office?
Yes. Well, and that makes a lot of sense because, for every church, it's going to look different, right? But you talk about paper, and I just think about, at Ministry Brands, we have so much software that helps with taking the things that, honestly, I've seen in church spaces that used to be on paper, sign-ups, right? Managing the finances and things like that, managing all of these different areas. When you can move from paper to digital, number one, that's going to make a huge difference. But then when you talk about having to have a physical volunteer or a staff member, team member to come into church, to come to that office, to write those checks, put those things out, there's so much time that goes into that, right? There's so much. I just think of having the right people in the right place. Okay, pastor's gone on vacation, right? Is that going to make an impact on when we can get things paid, when something comes in? It's just like, I feel like this is an appropriate conversation for the time that we're in because, we've automated so much. We've brought digital to so much. We've gotten software for so many things, and it's been amazingly helpful. Is this kind of like one of the last pieces of the puzzle for that a church can bring in?
I don't know if it's the last piece, but I think it's definitely setting them up for the long term.
Okay, I like that.
I will say that, in speaking to hundreds of churches in the last 9 months, and really over the last 6 years in my role here, we've found that being that they run lean, being that they have antiquated, really paper-heavy processes, makes them a prime target for these bad actors to go and commit.
Okay, you got to tell us about that. What do you mean by that? What are these bad actors, and what does that look like for a church?
Sure. So think of, a paper check going in the mail.
Yes.
Someone breaks into a mailbox. They intercept. They wash that check. Even if that church has, a banking relationship and positive payer support, meaning they've got some sort of security coverage there.
Right.
They still have to go through the tedious and just the task and the headaches of working with the bank which is going to hold their funds.
Yes.
And then at the end of this, they're going to have to then reissue that check again and go back through that process.
I'm like getting stressed out a little bit just to thinking about this process, right? Like that sounds horrible. I hope that anyone who's listening today hasn't personally gone through that as a ministry. But man, I get the reality that that's kind of the world that we live in, a fallen world. That's the world that we live in, that folks are looking for any opportunity to do that bad, right?
Right. Unfortunately, that is the nobody is immune to that sort of fraud. But when you run an antiquated process, you're just open to more risk.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot about churches they're giving. They're so giving is such a big thing for churches. It's how it fuels the mission that we're doing, and I think about even like big giving projects, big campaigns, going towards a building, all of these different things. Churches, they have these capital campaigns. They bring a lot of expenses. Say you're doing a building project. Would a tool or something like this, do you feel like it would be beneficial to have around when you've got an increase of expenses coming through?
For sure. I would refer to it as business continuity, right? So it's a tool set that's there not only to make your life easier day to day, but especially when you're in times of, peak busy season, peak stress from all these other projects and whatnot, where you can rely on a standardized process to manage that. You're staying in complete control.
Yes.
The solution integrates directly to your financial system. So you have a clean audit trail as to, when was this payment submitted, who approved it, how much was it approved for,
right?
And then what method of payment went out. Now, in the instances of juggling all these different projects or, getting into the holiday season that's upon us here, whether they face staff turnover or, that staff just takes on double duty, this is a tool set to help them really make their lives easier. So they can not only do this remotely, but they can communicate with the folks that need to be involved to adhere to their internal policies. So whether that pastor is on site at the build site, for instance, whether they're on a mission trip, whether they're out in the hospital, meeting with, congregation members or something along those lines, they don't necessarily have to come to the office to review and sign paper checks or stamp a paper check. They can simply look at it on their phone, their tablet, their computer. As long as they have access to the web, and they can keep things moving.
Well, and that sounds like it makes it a lot easier. You can move faster, right? Like you can do things, but also making sure that you're going by those policies. You're also making sure that you're, going to make sure that you have that reporting down. Tell us a little bit about that. You want to make sure that you have everything down for, meeting those compliances. You want to make sure that you are really staying audit safe, all of those different things. That's important for church leaders because we have to kind of be above reproach. We want to make sure that everything is lined up just correctly so that if anyone were to look into our finances or if we're, presenting to our leadership or external or denomination, all of those different things, we want to make sure that we have everything down just right.
Sure.
Does this help with that?
For sure. So it's a software solution,
Yes.
and all the users would have access via permissions.
Okay.
So they have their unique credentials to where if they're taking an action, if they're reviewing something,
yes,
we're going to be recording with a date and timestamp of what that action was.
Okay.
And then it is also integrated directly to their financial system, which we want that to be their main single source of truth, that system of record. So with that communication that's happening, and then with that clear visibility into what actions are being taken, the solution does have reporting capabilities to where you can slice and dice that a number of ways. And it really will make that time of audit much easier. Whether it's someone preparing things in a digital fashion, this becomes a document repository. So they could, with a couple clicks of a button, a couple filters using our search features, they can pull out all that information that an auditor may be asking them for.
Oh, that makes so much sense. I like that. Who in a church setting would typically be the one that, that you're normally talking to for this? Is, who takes on this role for a church in most cases?
Certainly. It varies based on the size of the church.
Sure.
For sure. But we're typically talking with, someone who is managing the accounts payable.
Yes.
That could be a finance director. It could be a finance administrator.
Yes.
It could be the executive pastor in some cases.
Yes.
So anyone who's touching that process in order to get those bills paid and get that cash delivered out to the vendors in a timely manner, that's who we're speaking with.
Tell me a little bit. I know that church finances and all of these different things, it can be intimidating to some. There's so much that can go into it. Do you have any encouragement that you could give to church leaders today, ministry leaders that are working with us? Anything that's just kind of put them at ease as we're talking about this subject?
Sure. I would say that they're definitely not alone. We find that more than 70% of churches here in the U.S. are still reliant on very heavy paper-driven, antiquated processes. They've not adopted any sort of automated tool set to help them manage day in and day out.
Yeah.
And then, like I was referring to earlier, they're just prime targets for fraud. These bad actors are getting really crafty in the market here today.
Sure.
And without, a necessary tool set to help manage that, they are really opening themselves up for risk. So adding to that stress, because they are then accountable to their congregation, to their finance committees,
sure,
to the communities. And we at AvidXchange are here to help and reduce that stress, give them that tool set to then protect those finances, and give them clear visibility and control across the process.
Well, I like that because you're saying, okay, we're here to help. We've got, you've got folks in your corner that can help you with this. You don't have to figure out everything alone. I love that. And I'm just curious, do you have any stories that you could share with us? Anything, of when you've been able to see this be beneficial? I know you shared one earlier, but sure. I love hearing how it's making a difference.
Certainly. Yeah, no, actually, through the Ministry Brands program that we've got, we worked with a church out of Texas. The executive pastor's daughter does all the finances. And she had given us a couple of instances where her dad had some health issues.
Sure.
He was in the hospital, but he was the main primary check signer.
Yeah.
She was having to either take the checks to him in the hospital to sign.
Wow.
Or at one point when it got bad, she just waited so the vendors didn't get. That caused additional headaches, additional stress for her.
Yeah.
She was juggling that on top of just the personal aspects of it with her being her dad, of course.
Yeah.
But she chose to go down this path with us. We were able to deliver our tool set to her. And now, regardless of whether, and her dad's healthy now.
That's good to hear.
Regardless of whether she had that same situation or another situation where maybe he wasn't able to come to the church office.
Yes.
They can communicate using this tool set. He can review and still keep things moving, leveraging the automated platform.
I love that. And that's real life, right? That's, you're going to have these things that pop up, especially in these church settings, right? Where it is, you have family members and you have, just a small group of people who are running this thing. It makes a big difference when you can have the tools in place to kind of keep it from relying just on one person, right?
For sure. And these are genuinely good people.
Oh, yeah.
They're doing this work. Like I said earlier, they always run really lean. They're wearing so many different hats. And when they realize, they have that aha moment of like, oh, wait, this is going to help me.
Yes.
I'm going to get that much time back. I'm going to be able to manage this without being in the church office 4 or 5 days a week, or meeting after services on Sunday, those types of things. It's a really lasting impact. And the people aspect, like I started the conversation here, is really what drives me to keep going here.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. What does it really mean to you? How does it make you feel to be able to help ministries in this way?
I mean, it's what's kept me here at AvidXchange for 6 years, for sure. Yeah. The impact that I'm seeing, and when I have these, I make these connections with these people.
Sure.
Right? They are putting their faith, their trust in me that we're going to deliver on what we say we're going to deliver on.
Sure.
And when we do, and you see the smile on their face, or you check in with them a few months down the line, and you find out like, hey, this has been great.
Yeah, this has really helped.
I went from spending 2-3 hours a week to I spend a couple minutes once a week. I no longer have to stay after church service on Sunday. I can go to lunch with my family, or what have you. Like, those are the small wins that really make the job worthwhile.
I love that. We're coming up on the end of the year. Churches have so much going on. Ministry leaders, they're busier than ever. We've got fall, which always brings a lot of different things. It's a new season, but also we'll be in Thanksgiving before you know it. We've got Christmas coming up, which all holiday services, all of those different things. It brings so much stress. Do you feel like a tool like this can be useful in helping churches to kind of lessen the load on the admin task, so they can focus on other different things in this season?
Exactly. I mean, that's the whole purpose of automation, actually. I know I mentioned earlier that 70% of churches are still, stuck working with these antiquated paper processes. They've not adopted this sort of tool set.
Sure.
But if they choose to do so, it's really helpful in times that they see peak busy season.
Yes.
It can scale up, scale down really quickly.
Yeah.
We typically see on average that about those users that adopt this process, we'll see about a 90% reduction in the effort and the time that's spent in processing those checks.
Wow.
The number of checks will go down because there's additional services attached to the solution itself to help drive those check payments over to electronic, and then provide that support out to the vendors. So they're no longer having to manage that. They can really rest easy knowing that we've got a reliable process.
Yes.
We can get our payments out in a timely manner with a more simplified, kind of day-to-day steps.
Yes.
And then we know it's secure as well.
I feel like that is encouraging, number one, because with so much coming up, I feel like stepping into this and kind of making a move on this early before you get into the peak busy season, I feel like it just shows that, man, there's still time to make a difference, and there's still time to get plugged in, so that when we get into all of the busy things that are coming up, that we're prepared. We don't have to be stressing about this kind of thing.
Certainly.
Is there anything that we haven't had a chance to talk through today that you want to make sure that our folks get to hear today?
I'd reiterate again, if there's churches that are interested in making a change, I'd encourage them to explore it.
Yeah.
To your point, there's still time left before peak season hits and the holidays roll through.
Yes.
But they're not alone.
Yeah.
Again, the stat I mentioned earlier, 70% of these churches are still doing this in this paper process. I would just encourage the team to explore. I know change could be scary.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, we are seeing positive results, and that's actually why Ministry Brands and AvidXchange have joined hands. We feel so confident that we can bring these results to these churches. Our slogan is we want them to focus on ministry, not manual tasks.
I like that. Well, and for all of our listeners, of course, Ministry Brands that makes this podcast possible. We want to make sure that you have everything that you need to get connected, because pairing and partnering with AvidXchange is just one of the great ways that you can extend what you're doing and make ministry easier, right? Keep you focused on the right things. And so we'll be sure to share all of the links and everything for that to just make it easy for you to get connected and be able to find out more, right?
For sure.
I love that. Well, something that is a big theme of our podcast, we ask every guest this is, we talk a lot about healthy churches, healthy leaders. And I just am curious to hear from you, in your opinion, from your perspective, working in what you do, what would you say is an essential component of a healthy church?
Sure. I know we touched on change earlier.
Sure.
Those that are kind of working through the curve, so to speak, to adopt some of that change.
Sure.
There's a lot of tool sets that are out there, whether it be the one that AvidXchange offers or some of the other partners,
Yeah.
some of the core solutions that Ministry Brands has to offer.
Sure.
They're in existence to help really drive efficiencies, make those churches run as efficient as possible, help them maintain and drive a healthy church.
Yeah. I love that. It's just, we talk a lot about that, and we really just want to see healthy leaders. And I feel like anything that we can take off of a ministry leader's shoulders, I feel like that's going to be so helpful and get them time back to focus on the things that matters most.
For sure.
I love that. Well, something that's kind of our tradition on our podcast is we love to end with a final 5 rapid fire. I'm kind of, are you ready for this challenge?
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. So the first question that I want to know is, what is a book on this subject or something similar, or even just something that you've been reading for fun lately that you would recommend for our listeners today?
Sure. So not a book, but from a podcast perspective.
Okay. I'm here for it.
One of the ones that I'm a regular listener of is Mindset Mentor.
Okay.
It has all sorts of different themes, not necessarily focused on finances, accounts payable, but it's just different ways to kind of challenge you to make changes in your life to be positive, positive changes, and
I like that.
Different types of impacts.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to check that one out. I haven't listened to that one yet. What's something that you've listened to recently, maybe music-wise, on Spotify or Apple Music, wherever you listen to your music these days?
Okay, I'm a Spotify guy for sure.
Okay, same. Yeah.
On the drive in, I was listening to an artist by the name of Charles Bradley.
Okay,
Screaming Eagle of Soul.
All right.
It's kind of a funky, funky kind of like Motown.
All right, I know what I'm going to be on the way back home on the way back home today. I know what I'm going to be listening to. I got to check it out.
Oh yeah, I got some good recs for you.
Okay, all right. So let's see. The next one is, what's your favorite piece of technology or software right now?
Yeah. Well, I sell tech. I don't necessarily use a lot of tech.
Yeah,
but I will say that ChatGPT is pretty cool, man.
As you can imagine, that is a frequent answer to this question. Yeah.
I was pretty against trying to like dip my toes in the water, but and I use it more so when I'm bored to like create funny pictures or something like that.
But a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a neat tool.
Yeah, it's everywhere these days. That's for sure. Okay, what is a quote or maybe some advice that has stuck with you over the years?
My grandpa always said, "A man's always he's only as good as his word." And I think that's something that's always kind of resonated with me.
Yeah, that's good wisdom.
If you're gonna say something, do it.
Yes, I like that. Well, that's a good reminder today. What is one thing that you'd like to communicate to our audience of church leaders that are out there today?
Yeah, no. There's plenty of options and kind of tools to help make your lives easier. Like I said earlier, I encourage you to explore it. A lot of these companies that Ministry Brands is partnered with, including AvidXchange, we're focused to make your lives easier, to help you guys focus on what you do best, that mission critical community and ministry work that you're doing. So,
well, I know that a lot of our listeners, they are Ministry Brands customers. They use our software, and I'm just kind of curious. Can you tell us a little bit more about how AvidXchange and Ministry Brands tools can work together?
Certainly. Yeah, no, Ministry Brands and AvidXchange believe in the mission that these churches are delivering, the ministries that they're, focused on.
Yes.
And we know that there's a need in the marketplace. So we've joined hands to bring this solution to market to make paying bills easier, to simplify that process. It's a seamless integration with Ministry Brands financial products. We've worked really closely together over the last 2 years to build that out.
Wow.
It's giving them transparency into where their payments at.
Yes.
They can launch everything directly from that financial system with a clean audit trail, and they can build tool sets and workflows that help manage that to stay compliant with their internal policies for approval.
That makes a lot of sense. And to me, that sounds like it makes it easy, right? It's easy to get involved on this. It's not something that's going to be a big burden to these churches to try to get started.
Not at all. No. The best part is there's no additional software fees associated.
Amazing.
There is a project associated with it, but
you have to set that stuff up and that kind of thing.
Exactly. We got to link up to the bank accounts, those types of things, but we're there to support them. Ministry Brands and AvidXchange, we are guiding that. We're kind of shepherding the user along the way to ensure that they feel comfortable and confident working through that change management aspect.
Oh, I love that. And it sounds like it's easy. And I like that. Easy is the way to go. And especially as, we've got these busy ministry leaders out there, right? But just it sounds like a small amount of effort in the beginning to get it going. And then it's going to help you. It's going to make things much easier down the road for you.
Right. A little bit of effort to begin with, big impact on the back end.
Well, I love that. And Wes, I just want to thank you so much for your time today. Thanks for having me here in your studio. It's been a lot of fun, and it's always good to be in person. I feel like that just takes it to the next level. I know that we've got the Healthy Church Summit coming up. We're so excited to have you involved with that. And we want to encourage everyone that's at home to be a part of that online event with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we just got so many good things. We recently did a webinar together that you can check out. And that just highlighted some more of these different things along with some of our other partners. So there's a lot of ways that you can hear more about AvidXchange. But I also want to know, what's the best way? If there's any way that any other way, social or anything you want to how can folks keep up with you and with AvidXchange?
Sure. So I think you hit the nail on the head. I'm going to be on the main stage with you during Healthy Church Summit.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we've also got a really interesting breakout session we're going to be presenting. So if anybody wants to learn more about AvidXchange, how we're helping churches, talk through some of those success stories that we're seeing, we'd love to have you join us. In addition to that, check out the Ministry Brands website. Check out the AvidXchange website. All of our socials. We're really close-knit these days.
Yes.
And I'm on LinkedIn personally, so look me up, add me. I look forward to chatting with people.
We'll make sure that we put all of those links and everything into the show notes. We want to make sure that folks can find those. But again, thank you so much for today. This has been great.
Certainly. Thanks for having me.
Wow, what a great conversation. Thank you again to Wes Herms for spending time talking with us. And thank you to AvidXchange for all of their hospitality and for welcoming me into their headquarters and their podcast studio for such a great chat. For all of you listeners at home, be sure to check out all of the resources. We'll be sure to put everything in the show notes, especially be looking for that link to the Healthy Church Summit. I'm excited for that event, and you'll get to hear from Wes even more at that event. It's totally free to get signed up and to attend. And hey, you can bring your whole church staff, all your volunteers, if you like, to watch along for this online event. We'd love to have you be a part of it. And hey, if this episode has encouraged you, would you consider sharing it with a friend? Every little bit helps to keep us equipping leaders just like you. Spread the word. It makes a difference. And hit that follow or subscribe button wherever you are enjoying our show. Until next time, keep leading well, and we'll see you right back here next week on Church Leadership Lab.
This episode of the Church Leadership Lab podcast is brought to you by Ministry Brands, the largest provider of church technology software. Over 90,000 churches rely on Ministry Brands for their single platform solution that brings together all the digital tools a church needs. From online giving to websites to church management software and more, Ministry Brands is leading the way in simple to use, innovative solutions, all with the goal of empowering healthy churches. To learn more, visit ministrybrands.com.